time. I've been running out of time. I've been running out of time. I've been running out of time. Running out of time. I've been running out of time. 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 I've been running out of time. Running out of time. I've been running out of time.
Yeah. What you talking about? That's running off the that's on my Lost and Found mixtape. I made that like years ago. Years ago. Speaking of time, right? Yeah, things gotta be. It's all relevant. Everything is like relevant over here. As you can see, I got my rose-colored. I ain't trying to get lost in no rose-colored glasses syndrome, but I got my Neptune and Capricorn rose-colored glasses on, where you can see me in the glasses. So, like space within space, things of that nature. Illusions, delusions, and shit. Anyways, y'all go check that out if you haven't. Most people probably haven't, because I'm shadow banned and whatnot, things of that nature. But yeah, today's topic is going to be about the End Time movie and how it should be relating to today's time. You know what I mean? And also I'm going to talk about, what I've been experiencing in today's time, what other people are putting out on the internet that sounds like what I've been talking about or what other people have been talking about for years, but certain pages get more views. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna go into all that, but that's clearly YouTube is clearly compromised, and this is all just a numbers game. We even go back to the early 1900s and things of that nature. What was motherfuckers doing in the neighborhood, in the hoods and stuff? They was doing what? Numbers? If you know what I'm saying? Y'all grandparents probably know about that and shit, or like y'all grandparents' grandparents, if they still alive. If you got any great grandparents or stuff, or anybody that y'all know what I'm talking about. It was like, that was like the thing at the time. They call it numbers, right? The little neighborhood people and stuff in the hood and stuff. Yeah, man, fucking running out of time, dude. I'm only 30 years old, but it's like somehow I did not prepare myself for today. Kind of knowing like the possibilities of what was gonna happen going forward. Just kind of knowing like I was in a world that, I was born into, and a lot of things have been out of my control, but, maybe I let myself get, I trust the process. I ain't gonna question shit. There's a lot of things like have saved me from, there's probably people in certain positions now or situations that are really locked into that. It's like they got to keep doing whatever, it seems. You know what I mean? Just to keep their little crumbs or keep their little safety, security, and shelter situation together. So, people are going crazy right now. Let's get into this real quick. I don't want to do a whole a whole bunch of too much talking about this. I'm gonna kind of keep it brief because a lot of time could be discussed. You know what I mean? It could be a lot of time that, this could be a conversation that you could really talk about for days upon days upon days and shit, right? Weeks, months, years. So from what all right, if y'all ain't seen the movie, if y'all ain't seen the movie, I'll start with that. All right, first, before we even get into the movie, first of all, this whole country founded on the slaughtering of Native Americans. That needs to be the first thing people like talk about, like how there was a bunch of Native Americans and creatures and wildlife, indigenous life that was completely obliterated, completely decimated. Before we talk about any problems today, all right, as long as that's stated clearly, like there was a lot of life obliterated on all sides, on whatever side, whether you was the native Indians, somebody that came over on a boat that happened to maybe be a freedman at one point. I was like, yeah, you know, we support the natives and stuff. Even the Britakana Redcoat man, any of the colonizer minds, like anybody, mainly the Native Americans, because this was Native American country. Before anybody gets lost in George Washington land, you need to know it was a whole civilization, culture, government, organization before any of the shit we talk about today. I think that's like a main point that people just try to sweep that under the rug still. But and then people want to do a whole bunch of this, that, and the third, and don't even go back in time. So it's like it's all it's a whole bunch of things that are happening right now that go back in time, and then it's also going to be, if that stuff in the past wasn't dealt with, what do you think is going to happen next? They say history repeats. They say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again, expecting different results. I don't know. All right. So, with that being said, a whole bunch of Native Indians before that term was even created, because it was like a cooperation between the Native Indians that were here and any foreigner, the motherfuckers that came over here, and then that established, and then that little like middle ground, which they call masonry and shit like that. And shout out to Dolo the Pilot Man. I'm not gonna not shout out Dolo the Pilot Man. Shout out to Dolo the Pilot Man. If y'all really want to get with the times, you gonna listen maybe to somebody like me and try to cooperate with me, or you gonna go watch Dolo the Pilot Man, try to watch his videos. But if it ain't for you, it just ain't for you. You know what I mean? So that's like really the dilemma going on. There's a lot of foreigners here that they never had no place here, and they really could go somewhere else and experience the same thing that they experienced in here in a time zone. If we talk about time, everybody, there's like pockets in the mental, in the mind and shit, in the spirit realm and shit. Because that's all we're doing is creating awarenesses. So like if you don't know how to go back to kindergarten and put one shape with the corresponding spot, you know what I mean, the corresponding space. For example, like the circle shape would go in the circle hole. The square shape will go in the square hole. The triangle shape will go in the triangle hole. The star shape will go in the star little slot. If you want to go back to kindergarten, making it real simple. You know what I'm saying? Your cubby, if you had a little designated area for your backpack and stuff, you had a name tag that went with your box. You didn't put, if you was retarded, you would put your box in somebody else's box. But if you was not trying to be confused at whatever age in your adult life, you most likely were gonna put your stuff in your box, and you knew, okay, this is the box that was assigned to me. not trying to go stuff your box in so-and-so your neighbor's box. When the mail shows up at your house, does the mailman put the mail in your mailbox, or do they put your mail in somebody else's, the next door neighbor's mailbox? Like, where's the rocket science going on? All right, anyways. So there's just a lot of things here in this land that were never here. And you know what I'm saying? And then you got people that are not even here in reality dictating what's going to happen in these lands from a whole nother region area. So how does that make sense? First, before we even talk about the movie, how does that make sense? Other people from a different time zone, like literally, like they might miscalculate. Yo, man, they could do a whole bunch of shit and miscalculate it and it'd be off based from a whole nother time zone. But yet they think their business was gonna run smoothly in this time zone. But they're not even from this time zone. They somewhere else. Like literally. Where are they at? They're not even outside working a job like the average person is. They somewhere at an oval, like a round table somewhere, having a discussion about what they're gonna do with the world, and they not from none of these time zones that they trying to regulate. So that's really what the movie's about. In Time with Justin Timberlake and what's her name? So you got all right, so now let's get into the movie, right? Justin Timberlake, he's an average day, regular average Joe type of guy. His mom works, so this is like a future setting where everything, like money went off the table, and the new form of exchange or currency is literally people's time. And then they got some like chip or something, or some type of like birth, like when they was born, they had some type of chip and that was inserted in their body or something. And then at a certain age, they just stopped aging. But that's when the clock started. And then you got X amount of time. So most people in the movie are just like working and trying to, I guess, live or whatever the case may be. And the whole currency is their time. Like, you got to pay your time to get on the bus. You got to pay your time to get to work. You know what I'm saying? You get paid in time. Like, they don't even use pieces of paper or nothing. It's all like digital. Sound familiar? So I'm just gonna get right into the meat of the movie. Pause. No, hold on. Bruh's mom dies. She runs out of time. There's more elements to goddamn. All right, where am I going with this? Bruh's mom dies. She ran out of time. He kind of like, I guess, goes into a depression or some shit, right? He gets all sentimental and whatnot. He knows he got X amount of time. He got X amount of time left. I guess he goes to a bar and then runs into a stranger that nobody even really knew about, but they could see that the stranger dude had a bunch of time on his wrist. So bruh pretty much helps the stranger dude get out of the bar because it was some muggers, like local gang dudes and shit, some thief type of cats that were trying to steal that dude's time. He had a lot of it. Nobody knows, like, what I'm saying? Like, how do you even get that much time, right? So, bruh helps the dude get out the bar, kind of like saves dude from being attacked. And then, one thing led to the next. Like overnight, I guess, bruh Timberlake passed out or went to sleep or whatever. And in his sleep, the dude gave him all of his time. and then that guy like left I guess enough time for him to like get to a bridge, and then he falls off the bridge, right? So then it becomes like is this a suicide or a homicide type of situation? And the whole movie is based off of like districts and zones, and there's people like in the like top seats wherever they at, pretty much overseeing everybody's time and overseeing these zones. And then they got police involved and shit. All right, so in today's time, that sounds kind of similar, right? You got like states and government bodies and shit. You got the police, which would be like the timekeepers, is what they're called, or I forgot what they're called, but they got this like it's like a police state, and everybody's supposed to stay in a district, in a zone. And most people in the like the lowest class, I forgot what they call the zone, but it's like all the poor people, right? People that are just working 9-to-5s and shit. Average day people, right? Fighting each, you know what I'm saying? All kind of just whatever's going on. Most people are in this robotic, automated program though of just get up, go to work, punch a clock. And that sounds like what's been going on, but now we kind of more towards the end stages of this whole like what we've been used to as far as the previous times. All right, with that being said, shout out to Dolo Pie, man. We in a whole new time where the previous cycle, going back 300 years or so, right? That whole time is over with. And this kind of started around like 2018, 2019, 2020 was like a peak moment in this shift, the early stages of the shift that we're now experiencing now 5 years later. And that's where you even get like the Android 19 virus that was sponsored by Bill Gates. Who's Bill Gates? A computer guy. So I don't even look at like that virus like there was some actual thing floating around, because I ain't getting no vaccine shot, and I'm still here today breathing pretty goddamn healthy for being 30 years old. I'm supposed to be in the prime of my life, right, according to modern medicine and shit. Not even just that, I am. Like, I'm in the best shape of my life. I could probably do better, but when I look around, most people are like blown up, they look inflated, they got big old bellies and shit. We're talking about men, right? Even women, but like, if I was to compare and contrast myself to other men that are older than me, they don't look in shape. They look very outdated. They look very diseased. They don't look aligned with the new times that we're in. Or even you know what I'm saying? Maybe they was doing better off in decades ago, or whatever the case may be. But now that time has gone by, we can see who's been doing what with their time, etc. So that's a big part of the movie too, like, because bruh had a friend that, you know, maybe if his friend would have had a bunch of time, well, this happened, right? I'll just say this real quick. I don't want to spoil the movie for those that have seen it, but whatever. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. He ended up giving some of his time after the stranger dude gave him a bunch of time. He ended up sharing some time with his friend, like his childhood friend or whatever. His friend had a kid and a wife and shit. His friend he later finds out kind of like in the middle of the movie or towards the end of the movie, his friend went to the bar with a whole bunch of time that Timberlake gave him, and he drank himself to death. You know what I mean? He didn't even know how to control himself with all that time that he acquired. And it wasn't like a bunch of time, but it was, you know, it was supposed to be time maybe used to like help take care of his child, you know, maybe help his wife out, you know, pay the bills, shit like that. Instead, he took all that time and went and drank himself to death. Cause that's like some time, it's like time he ain't never even had, you know what I'm saying? That's like, he didn't know what to do with that. He wasn't financially literate, or whatever the case may be, with his time. But that's a good example, like, just in general, in reality, you know, who you are and the type of life you live, or your reality, is based upon how you spend your time and what you're doing. Some people give their time to drugs. Some people give their time to alcoholism. Some people use their time for they creative matters and shit like that, to maybe start a business or things of that nature. But from what I'm noticing, it don't really matter what you do if somebody else is back somewhere, wherever they at, and they party members, if they the ones running the show. It really don't matter what you do with your time, because the whole system is like sewed up. So that's pretty much what the movie is. Bro, it goes about a whole experience of having, I guess, going into the new zones and shit, being questioned, you know what I mean, being out of place, you know what I mean, because the people in the other district, in the other zones, see this guy come in here, he's got all this time, they already know, like, how did he even get all this time? So he starts getting watched by the, like, you know, the feds. He's getting watched by the higher ups and shit. They're watching him and stuff. They're trying to, like, investigate how he got all this time. You know what I mean? They're trying to see if he did any crimes. You know what I mean? He's pretty much on flag alert. Especially because he went into this, you know, into the next level other district area, where it'd be like all the, you know, the rich people, and, you know, and people that dress all fancy, and they can have parties and stuff, and they don't got to worry about dying on the way to work. Or, you know what I'm saying, or they don't have to worry about their kids dying and shit like that. You know what I mean? Just like certain things in the hood, in reality, like, people are on limited time, you know what I mean? And then if you're getting paid with money, you're getting paid with pieces of paper and money and shit. What is the money at the end of the day? The money is just a representation of your time and what you put in your time towards. As far as, you know what I'm saying, maybe what you have to offer to the world, or your value, and the amount of time you put into something, right? So we in a whole new time. And all right, going into some videos that I've watched, people, you know, expressing themselves on YouTube and whatnot. Pretty much like, or just even my own experiences, mainly, like, what I'm noticing. The minimum wage is outdated. $14 ain't cutting it. $15 ain't cutting it. $16 an hour ain't cutting it. $17 an hour ain't cutting it. There's people that make $30-some an hour. That's not cutting it. You know what I mean? Especially with these new responsibilities and whatnot. Most people got paying rent, utility bill and shit, water, electricity and shit. You got to get food. You got to pay for gas. If you know what I mean, you got a car and shit, car insurance. You know what I'm saying? Car insurance is monthly. The gas, you know what I mean? Paying for gas to get to and from your job or wherever you work at. I'm not dumb. Like, I've been quote unquote like homeless. Or shelterless, because I ain't homeless. When I'm outside, when I go outside, everywhere I go, I'm at home. Like, I'm a part of this atmosphere environment. But, you know, if I were to, like, accept that homelessness term, you know, I'd be doing myself a huge injustice. But I'm like shelterless. So I've been pretty much shelterless for the past 7 years now. 6-7 years now. on and off. There was times where I was in the shelter, or maybe I was stay with some friends, or I had a vehicle at some point. Lived in my vehicle. I pretty much done it all. Living outside, sleeping outside, having to make some type of sheltering. I done did that. You know what I mean? Currently, I got like a little spot where, I'm sleeping on some pallets, just to be honest, like some pallets or a pallet, and then I try to cover up with some blankets and shit. Now, again, like I probably ain't managed my time the best, but the way I see it, it don't matter whether you manage your time good or not. You know what I mean? If you own somebody else's time and they could just jack up the rent, inflate the price of living, inflate the prices of food and all this. By the way, all this shit is synthetic. So this is all like the game of life. You know what I mean? The little game, board game back in the day, or Monopoly and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Where you at the whim of somebody else's control. Since they the ones that got the game sold up and they control everything, they regulating everything, they deciding what laws is going to be implemented and shit like that, because it's their world and shit. So not to drag this out too long, but that's pretty much the movie. You know what I mean? His ups and downs after he accumulates a whole bunch of time, and then trying to figure out what to do with that time, since it technically belongs to somebody else. If we're talking about like that's the new form of money and shit, and everybody is on the time bank. Like there's time banks. You know what I mean? Like there's time banks with these little cartridges. It's all digital. So in today's time, and out here in 2020, 2025 and shit, what do you see going on? The AI, they're trying to push AI. AI might, going forward, AI could replace everybody's jobs and shit. You know what I mean? Because if you a big ass corporation and you don't gotta like keep paying people to show up, and now you got automated robot response units and shit, AI and shit, and digital digital programs and shit. It's like, why do you even need people anymore? So this is like how out of touch with reality these people are, wherever they at, because it's like they need us, the people, to keep this game going. But if we in a whole new time, they might be realizing like, damn, people are becoming more hard to control and shit. People are becoming more out of control. People are waking up, becoming more aware to how, you know what I'm saying, if they was playing God and shit, and God we trust on the dollar bill, people are more aware, like whatever they've been doing is not cutting it. You know what I mean? Like people are barely surviving. Some people been probably working one job, you know what I mean, maybe 2 jobs, even 3 jobs, side hustles and shit like that, and you still struggling. You know why? Because you got to give it all back to the goddamn store, the Walmart, Amazon, the utility bill companies. You know what I'm saying? Wherever you paying rent at, if you got a mortgage. You know what I mean? Even if you bought a house with a property, like maybe some celebrities might be in certain positions, but these people are just puppets. They don't really own shit. Nobody owns nothing. It's all borrowed. Like everybody's just living on borrowed time. Even the most God positioned people with the dollar bill control, like they don't own shit either. You know what I mean? Wherever they at. So we just like in a whole new time where like nobody knows what to do. You know what I mean? Other than maybe like people with some type of culture, like Dolo the Pilot Man, or like any of the native type of Indian spirits that are in, you know what I mean, in bodies and shit today, or anybody on a mixed percentage level of having some type of native or freedman, you know what I'm saying, background, if you were to go back. in time and shit, you go back to certain certain people or certain bloodline. I hate to even get into that, but really your family would be like, where are you from and shit. You know what I mean? Your land, the land and shit. The animals there, the plant life. You know what I mean? The type of like the way of living, the lifestyle. It could be the water, the sky, the air. You know what I mean? Like, so most people got a whole like outdated way of thinking. That's pretty much what I'm saying. And most likely they gonna have to make some drastic decisions, because anybody could be homeless or like on the verge of just losing everything. You know what I'm saying? Even death, right? So this movie is pretty relevant. You know what I mean? It's based in the future, but today, right now, it seems like whoever made the movie are the same people directing the show on a global stage, right? And these people are like, so again, out of touch with reality, but they the ones that are holding all the time. You know what I mean? They the ones that are goddamn deciding what's gonna happen next for everybody. Which that's where the average people are responsible. We shouldn't be letting some strangers dictate what everybody's finna do with our lives when we the ones out here doing shit. And that's kind of like where the movie leads to. You know what I mean? Timberlake and then the homegirl he meets in the different district zone, they kind of team up, or she teams up with him. After he makes an impression on her, like I guess they kind of like gravitated to each other, or they caught a liking with each other, right? But she's like the daughter of one of the main bank dudes and shit like that. And he's got like a whole bunch of time somewhere in the office. And this is just this particular like area of the movie. And then you get to the end of the movie, there's other districts and shit. Like there's other zones and shit. So it's like it's like a big deal. You know what I mean? Other districts, other zones start catching word about him kind of rebelling. They start hearing stories about them doing what they're doing. They start like breaking out all the time out of the banks, giving time. It's kind of like some Robin Hood type of story, which is all witchcraft too. It's all kind of like manipulation. But the point of what I'm saying is mainly the digital information, money, right? Because they probably gonna just get rid of like money completely. This is like tied to like the Matrix too, is like kind of related to this also, like the computers, internet, people being locked into some type of pod where they being fed information and they being drained. Like your whole life is hooked up to a computer at this point. You know what I mean? All the money and shit is like digital. Even if you get pieces of paper, dollar bills, like at some point your money's in a bank, right? With all the numbers and stuff. That's like not even real shit. You know what I mean? You might as well be like, most people are just working for free. They slaves and shit. So this is like we in a whole like modern day slavery thing. Like this remixed, going back to the native Indians and shit, right? Them just trying to control this land, and what used to just be free for everybody is now slowly but sure, not even slowly, like quickly, just becoming less and less free for anyone. And it's all compromised and shit like that. But the movie, you know what I'm saying? People in these certain positions, wherever they're at, overseeing the masses, and everybody being on this this digital program, and then everything's automated, the AI and shit. You know what I mean? AI could just take everybody out. You know what I mean? Most people look at, that's how most people look today, right now, like just lost, stranded, just repeating the same shit they did yesterday, being more unfulfilled every time, each day, each second that go by. People look more unfulfilled. People look more lost. People look more like they don't know what to do. People are looking more down at their phone, expecting something to change. And again, the definition of an insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, expecting different results. And that's what it looks like. Like, that's what's going on. People just expecting something to change, expecting Jesus to show up, expecting whoever to come save them, and whatever the case may be. And the reality is, ain't nobody coming to save anybody. And you better hope you could keep doing whatever you've been doing. Because there's people that never had to be in a impoverished situation that could easily tomorrow just lose everything that they accumulated and be out here just like everybody else. That's in a struggling type of compromised situation. And then nobody's pointing the finger at the real people responsible for this. You know what I mean? Be like the European cat somewhere, the colonizer mind. Because I don't look at it like race. I don't look at it like skin color and shit. There's a group of motherfuckers wherever they at, and that's they family. And they whatever, all mixtures of quote unquote ethnicities or nationalities at this point. They don't even look at it like that. They know like white means that they separate from, like they created some separate world that they're in. And if you got that mentality, you could be up under them. But if you ain't born into that family, even when we talk about politicians like and Donald Trumps and shit like that, or Joe Biden's or Barack Obama's or Hillary Clinton's, any of these cats, these are all people just like you and me, just maybe in a quote unquote like a higher seat up the ladder, but even then they're being manipulated like a puppet, and they have a certain type of assignment that they've been given. You know what I mean? They got a certain astrology, they got a certain alignments and shit like that. They got a certain like spiritual pocket position of gifts and talents and creativity that they would have regardless. Most of these people just they gift and talent is lying, deception, manipulation, trickery, greed, how well they could deceive people, deception. They got good acting abilities and shit. A lot of them not even good actors, but I guess to everybody else, like you could say, they still in, you know what I'm saying? It's like a Donald Trump. That's just a puppet to me. You know what I mean? A Kamala Harris, another puppet. She ain't finna die with shit. She's gonna die just like everybody else, not owning shit. Her children, they ain't gonna own shit. So there's like people really behind the scenes that you would call like, people call the Illuminati or whatever these fucking words are, but really just like a shadow government or like a group of motherfuckers, the colonizer mind, and they're just a bunch of like shadow handlers and shit, but they're not even in control right now. You know what I mean? Thanks to people like Dolo the Pilot Man and myself and others. You know what I mean? And just average regular day people that like got enough common sense to realize like this shit is a goddamn fucking charade. You know what I mean? This shit don't make no sense. Maybe it did in the past, you know what I mean, in those times, but we in a whole new time. So things got to be updated. There's got to be like new things implemented. We got to change what has already been established, or at least bring it up to speed, get it up to the new speed. And then maybe people will be more comfortable, but it don't seem like the maniacs running the synthetic world and shit, which is just a business at the end of the day. They don't give a fuck. They're just running a business. You will never see these people a day in your life. They got to live through other people because they don't got nothing but how to like colonize and manipulate everybody else. Colonization meaning like putting people in categories, groups, boxes, formations and shit. So they look at the creative individual, and they best, as far as it goes in their mind, is how could we steal from that person, or how could we put them in a trap, or put them in some type of magic square, some type of box formation, some type of like structure pattern, to where we just milk all the energy from them. And they're like real vampires for real. To the point like they got this whole situation set up for you to die. That way, they could harvest your body and harvest your organs and shit like that. You know what I mean? And somewhere they drinking people's blood and eating good livers and eating good hearts and stuff, and drinking good old like gauntlet cups of your great grandma's like blood fluids and plasma, and then all these plasma banks and shit. Like people just go sign up to a plasma bank out of survival means, but just end up getting back a piece of paper and your whole like who you are and shit. You just gave your like fluids, your influence to some strangers somewhere. And they could lie to you all they want and tell you, oh yeah, it's for blood transfers, and you guys are really helping out somebody else that needs some blood fusion work, and this, that, and the third. But everybody just getting old and crippled and shit like that. So that's pretty much the current situation. This whole system is crippled and outdated, and anybody trying to uphold it is gonna have a hell of a hard time trying to keep upholding that shit. The longer you try to do it, just like the people in the movie. You know what I mean? Especially when your time is on the line. You like, man, I only got 10 minutes left. Oh, I gotta go do this. You know what I'm saying? I gotta go do this. I gotta go do this. I gotta do this. You only got like 5 minutes throughout the day to really sit down with yourself to do anything. To me, that's not life. That's slavery. That's death. That's goddamn all your precious time of your life went to somebody else that just had a well-oiled machine of manipulation and trickery. And that's what they was good at. Just being evil and manipulating people at like the highest level. We talk about humanity and shit. This has been so inhumane for the longest time. People are now coming to the grips of actual reality, like, you know what I mean? Like that whole time is fading away. And if you ain't doing things in the new shift, you're outdated. I hate to tell you. Shit, you better hope your body don't fall apart. You know what I mean? Like if you think you're gonna keep going to work and shit, even these cats wherever they at, they've been working hard. They finna be really working hard. Like they better hope they can even get away with all this AI digital bullshit, because none of them might, you know what I'm saying? They might just like collapse on the spot if they keep going with this shit. But this is the shit we talk about right here, and like people on radios, people going off of codes, statutes, whole bunch of like, again, programs, numbers, information. Even if it's false information, people are still going with this is the consensus, this is the standardized way of thinking, this is what's agreed upon, these are the agreed terms and conditions based upon God and shit, right? And that God could be leading you off a cliff. That God is somebody else's mind that people they got the authority at the moment, but it ain't nothing more than that. You know what I mean? It's just literally their mentality, how they think, and they got the whole world sewed up under that shit. So that's like the current situation and why things are so critical is because people have been fooled, people have been lied to, people have been goddamn manipulated, told one thing, told another thing, told one thing, so it's like a whole system of confusion. You know what I mean? Because these cats don't know. But if you the person that's with all the creativity and shit, and you got to get up each day and give your blood, sweat, and tears to any business for anything to run smoothly. You hear the crying children in the background. You hear the squealing and shit. That's what animals do. They squeal when they're in fear. Not to call them animals, but that's pretty much what's going on. Like, people just lost in they animalistic natures and shit. You know, this is like so demonic, it's not even funny. It's so evil, it's so like low, it's not even funny. I didn't even know things could get this low. I actually had better hopes for society when I was that age. That's where I was being a fool, thinking that people were actually better than what I'm seeing now. So it's like, go ahead, keep listening to a bunch of strangers, wherever they at. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to talk down on nobody. I love everybody and stuff. But some people just not gonna get it. Not even some. Most people just won't get it completely, like, at all. So they already like accepted the fact that they got defeated, and they already accepted death. They already accepted that they're just gonna die and just, oh, this is life type of mentality. Like, and somebody else is just sitting back somewhere laughing, like this wall right there. Bunch of retards just laughing at everybody. You know what I mean? The people that own all the people that made the watch. They had to steal a lot of this shit from the native Indians. So that'd be like a whole big old double like bag of lostness, because you got people thinking they doing one thing, don't even know who they giving power or energy to, are stealing from spirits that are like dead and shit, that are coming back. Like, I'm back. Like, I'm not going nowhere either. So like, pick a lifetime you want to see me. You better hope you see me again. You like that? You better hope you see me, because shit, your ass might not exist. But you're gonna be aware though. Like, you're gonna go somewhere and like that's the world you created. You better hope you got a body like that you gonna be in control of. Cause that's how people be living, like, just out of control, out of line, out of the time, just out of time, just totally gone. Like, and that's the whole movie, right? Like, the whole movie, just some motherfuckers trying to control the what they know they created was a whole goddamn system of fraud, and they should have never been playing God. You know what I mean? Because now you got to reap what you sow, dude. You know what I mean? The fact that I'm even like in this seat right now, like wearing what I'm wearing and shit. Like, I didn't been through some shit that the average person not even ready for. Like, I intentionally put myself outside, knowing that it's like I needed to go through certain experiences alone or by myself to prepare myself for now. So it's like I already seen the future like decades ago. And when I was ready, I was like, it's time for me to go. Now, if I don't go right now, I'm not going to have another chance. And I didn't quit several jobs, multiple jobs, to keep my sanity, to keep my time, like, to make sure I don't go out of bounds, make sure I don't like lose my mind or lose my time. Because to me, it's not worth, what the fuck's the point of giving 20 years, 10, 20 years, 30 years to other people that you never even meet just for you to die old. Like, I don't understand. That's why I made that song. Like, I made that song in high school or like after high school. I want to say I made that song in high school. Running out of time. Like, and it still is like, it's more relevant than ever. That's why I'm who I am, because somebody like goddamn Young Thug could get hundreds of thousands of views or millions of views for being a puppet. But yet somebody like me got to struggle in real life, actually being the energy that they trying to copy, to just have one of their puppets act as they the energy. And people know like the shit is not authentic. Yet my YouTube channel gets X amount of like views. I'm grateful to get any views. Like, it's not even about the views or not, but like I'm making a point. Like, this shit is manipulated. They play with the numbers. They do the shit on the news. They do the shit with your goddamn with your food. They do the shit with your rent. They do this shit with your job, like whatever money you think you're making, and then you gotta go spend all your money you just made and all your time that you ain't getting back. You go give it right back to them. So what sense what sense do y'all think y'all making? What a waste of time. Like, really? Like, people just waste time, get old as fuck, and then die. And then nothing changed. So in the movie, like, you know, the movie is like more optimistic, but in reality, ain't nobody doing that. Ain't nobody got that kind of like, nobody's thinking like that. People ain't thinking like Justin Timberlake in Homegirl in the movie, whatever her name is. People not thinking that, like, man, you know what I mean? People ain't empowering themselves and shit. You know what I mean? Ultimately, bro got the time that he acquired because he was genuinely being himself. You know what I mean? There was an early part in the movie where, you know, he showed up to work and then he was trying to get, I don't know, maybe a drink or some food or something. And then the dude was like, oh yeah, it's this amount. And then he was like, well, what do you mean? Last week it was X amount. It was X amount of whatever time. And then the guy was like, well, shit, now, not now. It increased. You know what I mean? Too bad kind of energy. Like, well, shit, what do you want me to do? Now it's, the new price is this. So, I ain't gonna keep going around and around about this shit, man. But the point is, your time is very important. I'm a creator. I know I created myself. And, you know, with the Great Spirit gives you your awareness. So, like, I'm not even me. Like, I'm not in control like that. But I do have a piece of my own kind of like free will abilities and things like that. But most people just using they free will or their awareness or they power and shit, they creative power. I guess people ain't even aware, dude. Like, that's how it be looking. Like, people just be spiritually in some type of sleep and they're not waking up. Even if they spirit be like trying to like nudge them awake, and you know what I mean? Even if like everything in they space be trying to shake their ass awake, they just don't. They just choose to ignore. Or if most people, like, if they are a product of those seeds, you was never real, period. You never had a space. You never had no creativity to those individuals. So that's like the reality of what I be saying. And I've been talking like this for years now. But most people just get juiced up because they match some like accepted way of thinking, or like you know you could just tell like who's who. Like, I'm not getting no traction because I'm genuinely like really authentic. Like, I do shit in real life offline, like no internet involved. But yet people get online and think they somebody, or they just get all these views all of a sudden, but they sound like everybody else, complaining or just talking about something they really don't know about. Especially they don't bring up like the native Indians. Like, if you ain't talking about the native spirit, your ass is finished. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about like just using it in a way where you could just use it like a word to make money off of. No, like if you gotta really, this shit gotta really be in you, or it ain't. Goodbye type of conversation. Like, of course they're not gonna want to promote me because this shit ain't for me. You know what I mean? And whoever might be out there that might be attracted to this sentiment or like whoever I might gravitate with my pool, you know what I mean, towards me, they don't want that either, because that means they gonna lose customers, or they losing their business, or they losing something that they never like had. So just a reminder like that they not really in control like that. That's really what it be. So they be going to the extreme lengths and doing whatever they doing to maintain like that false sense of control that they think they are, like playing God and shit. But they can't stop me in real life. So it's like weird, you know what I mean? It'd be like weird. And that's pretty much what the movie's about. Like they try to do all these hoopity hula hoops. They try to stop bro any way they can. They try to like close the gates on him. They try to send the police at him. They try to shut his time off, because he did. That's what happened. Like he ended up getting all that time, and then they blackballed him and shit. They blacklisted him. Then he became wanted. You know what I mean? Then he had to kind of duck and dodge and hide and shit. And he couldn't just be out and about regularly, because anybody could have seen him and like called the authorities. And then that was like the whole movie, like cat and mouse chase. So I don't know what people are waiting for. I don't know what people think they're gonna go buy in the store and they think that's gonna fulfill them. And it all just be a waste of time, where everybody could really like put time into ourselves as people, start getting in touch with reality again, and pay attention to what actually matters, like your livelihood, your well-being, creating something that could stand the times. You know, like you don't want to like, what the fuck is a cheeseburger? That's some temporary gratification. That's only gonna like what? So how many cheeseburgers did you eat? Did that make you feel more rich in spirit? You know what I mean? And so that's really what it be like. Spiritual currency, your time and shit, your well-being, your livelihood, what you're creating, versus the synthetic world of some man-made shit, the devil, the flesh, desires, comfortability, how well you can sustain that or maintain that until I guess somebody else decides they want to pull the plug on you and cancel your ass for disobeying. But as long as you stay a good little puppet, you could have all the puppet benefits. That don't sound like life to me. That sounds like even more bondage. So it don't sound like this whole idea of success. It don't seem like, well, it's not even a seem, like the more quote unquote successful you get, you actually become more unsuccessful. You actually get more into somebody else's hands and somebody else's clutches and somebody else's grips, and then they got more leverage, or they got more power over you. You know what I mean? I got like Scorpio in my 6th house, and Pluto. I'm a Pluto and Scorpio generation, so like my whole life has been nothing but what I'm talking about: power and control dynamics, and power and control struggles, and teachers and shit, and people trying to like control the classroom, and banks trying to control the neighborhood, and supervisors and managers and CEOs and shit trying to control the people that are showing up as employees but are really just trying to survive or whatever, you know what I mean? And then now there's more nuance, like, oh, all this is occupation ways of thinking. So somebody at some point came over here and made a business off of slaughtering a whole bunch of Native Americans. I don't understand why y'all don't understand that. That's why your life is the way it is today, because there's a lot of blood that hasn't been cleaned up. There's a lot of blood spilled that people just think they could just make a business around, make a football team around. You know what I mean? Make another business about, and make another logo about, make another corporation about. So that's really where they going. They're retracting all their shit, and now they're trying to use whatever it is that they actually have, which is really like nothing but manipulation and shit. But you don't see, like, all right, for example, like China and shit, Asia and shit, Japan and shit. They don't have these problems out here in America. You know why? Because they creating shit, they making shit. They might have other problems going on, but they ain't got shit to do with these lands and shit like that. This concept of America and whoever's running, you know, America, like the extended Europeans and the children of the European system, they just taken from China, taken from Africa, taken from, those are the main ones over there, and then I guess the Arabs and shit like that, which are kind of like a mixture of like both, like Asian and some Asian African thing is the Arab. You know what I mean? I hate to use these words and shit, but like, that's really what's going on and shit. People just don't know thyself. They don't know who they are. So people just be like running around like chickens with their head cut off. And then at that point, the whole like farm that McDonald's was trying to run is like shutting down, because there's only a handful of humans that are actually real. And I'm not a human, but there's like a handful of beings that are actually real. And we don't give a fuck about none of this shit. Everybody else is just at the mercy of the God that they up under, that they choose to be up under. Like, nobody's pointing a gun to your head and saying, go to fucking work today. But I guess there's a mental, like, esoteric gun, sword, being waved around or being flashed or being forced upon people's head, like, where they think and feel like, man, if I don't go do this, I'm not gonna be able to buy something at the grocery store to feed my children. If you got kids and stuff, you got children, like, you know what I mean? But if you a foreigner, you have no business here. Period. Time's up. That's what it looked like. Most people just here, like a lot of foreigner niggas are here on vacation. Like people that they're not from here. They don't got no inheritance to this land. But they here on vacation. They here with a Gucci bag. Or they here with a Tesla. Or they here with X amount of like digital money. And they think they could just come over here and like vacation it up. Like there ain't people that actually died on this soil for anybody to have what they have today. It's like, it's so disrespectful. It'd be like the highest levels of disrespect to everybody. Like, just humanity itself is finished. So that's really all I gotta say, man. If you go watch that movie In Time, you'll get a better idea of what I'm saying and how it correlates to today's time. But the main points are like that AI shit. You know what I mean? Oh, here's what I wanted to talk about too. I seen a post that Kaylani, shout out to Kaylani from the Bay Area. She a female singer and shit. But she made a post on Instagram about some AI fucking artist. I'll even look it up real quick, bro, because I don't like just like talking about shit. Let's look at this shit. It's like a whole AI artist that makes songs, it's like, you know what I'm saying? AI is making beats. AI are making songs and shit. Look. I'll put it up right here, dude. The AI artist name is Xania with an X, like Xania Monet. This is very recent. AI artist Xania Monet or whatever, who signed a multi-million-dollar record deal and charted on Billboard. Are you serious? Like, that's the time we in. Like, they're just getting rid of anybody that's real and replacing them with some type of robot, some robotic shit. This is a whole AI. This is a whole AI computer. It's not even a real person. With songs, like, this is crazy. And this is the end of the 100. Like, what 100? How you multi-million-dollar? Like, how you got 100K subscribers with 26 videos? Like, this is sick.
Groover has helped me just put my music out there and expand my fan base. They've helped.
This is all AI right here. Like, what? Like, that's so sick in the head. And then they go play with the numbers, and then they gonna like manipulate shit to make sure she gets heard and shit. This is all fake numbers. Like, that's pretty much what I was just saying. This is suspicious. So it's like the irony is like they be telling on itself the very same thing they're using for what they think is creativity be the thing. If you listen to what she's saying, like, that's everything I just said. Or it, not even a she. It. Like, this is disrespectful because I actually play piano.
I want that back in the day kind of vibe. Love ain't live streamed, it was felt inside.
When love ain't live streamed, it was felt inside. What do you know about love? You're a fucking robot AI. You get it? That somebody behind the scenes had to punch in some keywords or some shit. Like, there's maybe a real person behind this shit, like a handler type of person. So that might be the name, like whoever that is, but like, that's a whole fictitious entity. That's not even a real person. And then that being or that wherever that group of people are making money off of some AI synthetic computer way of creating shit after they had to copy real people. This is sick.
No post, no tags, no midnight test. Just loyalty and a little bit of respect. Before everybody knew your business.
Before everybody knew your business.
Before who you with turned suspicious.
Before who you with turned suspicious.
Before the GPS.
Before the GPS and the passwords too.
Take me back when love was real.
See, the whole song is based upon fraud and like, yeah, it sounds like, oh yeah, this blah blah blah, but no, like this very same thing is the reason why that song is not going to be fulfilled. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if this was a real person and they made a song, like they want to go back to the times where things were different, you know what I mean? And whatever she just said, like the AI is a part of the problem of why that's not going to happen though. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's reverse psychology tactics. Like, how you gonna make a song about like people that are like the sentiment of real genuine people? Like, this is how real people think, probably. Like, man, I miss them good old days and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, but they gonna make a whole AI fucking fake ass synthetic computer song and then this is a whole fake ass entity that just signed a multi-million-dollar record label. So that the record label business and the people that support this could keep making money. You know what I'm saying? Because at some point they know, like, the actual artist that's genuine, they can't control the artist. Shout out to Prince, the artist. They can't control the artist. You know what I mean? So they had to do this next. Like, all right, let's make something that we could just control. This is weird. And then they gotta watch everybody else and copy and steal and do weird psyops and shit, like just weird shit. You know what I mean? Like, all right, for example, like I worked at Geico earlier this year for like a week or so, a couple weeks. Like, I was finna work there, but I was like turned off by the whole thing because in the Zoom, like in the training, you know, we're sitting at the company computers and shit for Geico, and the job task responsibility was for like roadside assistance, right? Like, you know, people break down on the side of the road, somebody, you know, they gonna talk to somebody on the phone and goddamn, you know, get some roadside assistance, right? Whether that's a tow being sent out to them, a whole shebang, right? I don't want to get into all the details of that. But while we're in the training, they had, well, just in the Zoom meeting and shit, you could, like, or whatever it was called, might not have been Zoom, but in the Teams meeting or whatever, Microsoft Teams, people like in the classroom, like I could literally be the person sitting right over there at a computer desk, but they had the option to like cover their face on the computer with like some AI fucking cartoon looking like face, like some type of polar bear or some shit. Like, they didn't have to show who they are or nothing. They could have like used some AI filter. And then not even just that, in the training course, they wanted us to do and they had this at another job too, at AFNI for Verizon, where you would be like given like, you know, you going through the modules and shit of training, but then at certain points, you know, you do some type of in class practice, and then they had it like an AI thing where you'd be sitting there with your headphones on, and then you kind of have to go through the little, like, kind of like a mock call or something, or like you know what I mean? It's like a training call, but not a real call though. But it would be like some AI shit where they recording your voice, and then you would speak as if you was on a real call into the computer, and then it was supposed to, like, you know, treat you like you having this call experience, right? But it was like a trained, like a script thing. You're reading a script in front of you, and I thought that was weird as fuck, because I was like, wait, hold on, dude, like. And not even just that, like, they got certain shit on job, like, what do they call it? Not Jobber, but one of these online freelance work websites. What's that shit called? What's that shit called? Upwork. They had like certain people in China or wherever the fuck, in Asia, and just different places, right, that were putting these like ads on Upwork, and motherfucking, I remember one was they were trying to get people, they were trying to hire people for like they needed people here in America or something, right? They needed people to do some type of like voiceover work or some shit, or you know what I mean, like some shit like that. But it's like your voice would then go somewhere else to like these niggas in India or in China or some shit. Like, not even just that, bro. I could get into it, a whole bunch of other shit. But pretty much like they slowly but surely they probably already started this, where they got AI robot customer service, where you could call, for example, I had a Consumer Cellular, you know what I'm saying? They've been charging me, even though I canceled my goddamn phone bill, my phone service. I've been canceled it months ago, yet they've been charging me for months that I have not even, like, that I'm not even I'm not even using the phone number. I've been canceled, and then they're trying to act like I ain't canceled my phone bill, and they're charging me and shit. So I talked to somebody the other day, and I got to the end of the phone call, and it sounded like a goddamn AI robot that I might have been talking to the whole time, because I was making very specific points to this customer service representative, and at some point towards the end of, like at the end of the call, before the call ended, or before I hung up, the customer service individual lady that I was talking to just stopped talking. Like, it just went silent. I was like, hello, is anybody there on the you know, is this an AI robot I've been talking to? Are you even a real person? Silent. I heard fucking silence at the end of that phone call. So that's how I know, okay, there's like these companies are for sure like using this phone call is being recorded for quality assurance purposes and all that shit. Like they could be taking your voice on phone calls and doing a whole study so they can make their AI software, AI program shit more like realistic, or more sounding like a real person, or just for the study of how are people thinking, so that we could make our AI software more like somebody that's actually a real, genuine person. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a bunch of weird shit going on, bro. And then people just out here be doing like goofy ass shit like this. Just goofy ass shit like this. Like bored. Like people are just bored and don't even know what the fuck they're doing. Like just goofy each day. No purpose, nothing. And I be trying to like be an example, or I be trying to like, you know, I'm willing to teach people or put people on game, but most people just maybe are intimidated. Maybe they don't know how to like stop and have a genuine conversation, especially like the Gen Zs and stuff, the newer kids and whatnot. They don't know. They probably terrified to speak to me like longer than 5-10 minutes, because their attention span is, you know what I mean? People don't even have no comprehension ability developed. So this is a whole bunch of like downhill type of energies and qualities, where people are just running away from anything that's reality, any truth. Nobody want to, like, you know, I get shadow banned and shit. Like, I get my numbers blocked. I had a song video that was on YouTube for 5 months, where I didn't say a goddamn thing in the song other than no, I don't listen to, 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 no, I ain't fucking with, 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 shit like that. And I had a sample of South Park. Now that's probably maybe why I got removed, maybe for copyright purposes. But this South Park sample was a fire ass song that was on YouTube for 5 months, and I had it on there categorized as a teaching for teaching purposes for you know, for foreigners, so they could learn what that Nigger word means and how it's pronounced. So I had it classified on YouTube as like, this is an educational video, and it was up there on YouTube for five months straight. Got 534 views. I got 15 likes or whatever. And then they decided that they wanted to remove it after 5 months of it being like available. So if that don't let you know like what I'm talking about is real, like they could just turn your shit off at any given moment, because that's what they want to do, and they just gonna overrule your goddamn who you are and shit. Like they just disregarded me completely. They didn't give me no warning, nothing. Just like your rent bill, how you could be paying rent one day, and then tomorrow your rent just went up, bitch. You either pay it or get the fuck out. So like, I don't. People think they in control, and then that be the whole point. Like none of y'all are God, and the average day person is just up under that umbrella of the people that are playing. Like I could control the world and be God, and the most lost, demonic, highest level of lostness. You know what I mean? So most people just don't know that that's what they doing. You know what I mean? Like they just don't know no better, but they guilty by association, by being in that world. And it's synthetic. It's not even real. So like I don't know where people would be at. I don't understand none of this shit. I'm in real life. I know history and what occurred in real life very well. I know I was a spirit that had to be alive at some point back then, because here I am. I'm back today with this type of like mentality and shit. I'm not unaware of things. I know where I came from. I know I was in a goddamn womb, and I popped out of a sexual organ into a hospital and was a baby. At some point, people just totally bypass that and then think they came from outer space or some shit, or like go listen to Elon Musk or some shit, or go get that new whatever the fuck, but don't even know basic shit like how you came to be. You know what I mean? Don't even know how to put two and two together. Like your parents had to think about the idea like, I want to fuck today or something. And then they might have matched with each other. And then they was both fucking. But they both had that idea first in their own minds. Like, you know what? I want to fuck this person. Or something, right? And then whatever, you know what I'm saying? That combining, that joining of energies brought your ass here. So you trying to tell me that you wasn't an idea at first? That's for anybody. Like, you trying to tell me you wasn't an idea before you was a body? Before you was in this body today, you trying to tell me you didn't start as an idea and somebody didn't give you a name, which is an idea? So for you to have your name today, somebody had to come up with that idea, right? It's like people just want to like act like that. I'm not talking. Somebody didn't name you and they had to have an idea pop on their head. I'm making it real simple. Somebody came up with an idea in their head, lady with the star on your shirt. Somebody didn't come up with a name to call you, like, hey, let's call her this. Like she could be wearing all that Star Spangled Banner shit and don't even know what she's doing. Don't even know, like, why are you even talking? Why are you even wearing the star shirt then? It's she wearing a cowboy shirt. She clearly a foreigner, like, that's here just milking the land. Like, she got no business here. And she didn't even want to have no genuine conversation. So, you get what I'm saying? Like, that type of shit. But all right, man, it's windy every single time. I don't know how to lose, transmute. I transmute L's and W's. Bitch, don't play with me. Motherfucker, don't play with me, dude. Like, whatever, dude. You know what I mean? Like, whatever, dude. You know, he's gonna keep acting like, let's just keep acting like the world didn't end about 5, 6, 7 years ago. Let's just keep acting like this synthetic world is just gonna keep going on. Like, you can just keep buying your favorite perfumes. You can keep going to Cinnabon. You can keep going to In-N-Out. Yeah, let's just keep going in the mall. Let's just keep acting like things ain't really going on outside in the world, like riots and protests and shit like that, and people like burning government buildings down, which I don't recommend, but that's what's going on and shit in the world. Like, apparently over in the eastern continents, you got little niggas in Nepal and shit overthrowing the government, apparently. Let me look that up real quick. That's what they say, right? Gen Z in Nepal overthrow government. If that's fake, then shame on the news outlets and the social media and shit. But that's what I just seen online a couple days ago, and it's confirmed here. That's what they saying. 2025 Nepalese Gen Z protests. A youth-led uprising in Nepal during September 2025 forced the resignation of the sitting government. The protests, driven primarily by Gen Z, were sparked by a government ban on social media, but quickly expanded to address widespread corruption and economic stagnation. Thousands of young people organized on platforms like Discord began peaceful protests. However, after security forces, aka the police state, used live ammunition against young people, youngsters, the demonstrations escalated into violent riots, as they should have. If you got the police attacking you and your young people as a generation for peacefully protesting, you should defend yourself. I would think, like, you're not just gonna let a bunch of police just annihilate y'all as a generation. See, it's just different out here, bro. Like, I don't know, bro. I'm not promoting that, but that's the information that's online, and that's what apparently happened in Nepal. They ousted the government. Amid the escalating crisis, Prime Minister KP Sharma Ali resigned on September 9th. The Nepalese army took control of the capital, Kathmandu, and helped negotiate a new political path forward. On September 12th, former Chief Justice Susila Karki was appointed as the interim prime minister until elections could be held in 2026. So all this could be like a part of an agenda, of course, but at the same time, like, they got tired of being treated a certain way, and they're like, fuck this, we finna fuck shit up. Now, again, that was probably allowed, you know what I mean? That's like an agenda type of narrative. That's allowed, but that's just a sign of the times that we're in, like, especially from Gen Zs. Those are young people that are like, no, this government is corrupt. We're not allowing this. And they stood together, and they stood on business. All this is like native hobbyism and shit. You know, this all go back to native Indians and stuff, and freedmen. So that's really the point of all this. Like, people just got the wrong starting point of why they doing certain things, and they don't know like who did it first, or whose government got set on fire first. So that's kind of like the weird, like, I don't totally support this, because I can see where, like, back in the day, the native Indian government. This whole land got set ablaze. Like, you know, way worse than what these motherfuckers was dealing with or experiencing. You know what I mean? Like the whole country was goddamn. And really a lot of it was just like not even violence. There might have been some skirmishes and some battles and a little warfare here and there. But most of what occurred back in the day was like a whole bunch of manipulation on paper, and then the colonizers kind of tricked everybody else, whether that was like the, you know, Chinaman or any of the Pilgrim type of kids, like the, you know, quote unquote, like the Irish or the Scottish or like Germans, and you know what I mean. It was a lot of like mixtures of Pilgrim type of people, and then like, you know, Africans and shit. Like, so a lot of motherfuckers just came here and like they replaced a lot of the natives. A lot of natives got moved elsewhere, mixed in other continents and shit. It's deep, bro. It's like, it's so much that went into this. It's not even funny. It's not even funny, dude. And then people just like in today's time don't even take their life serious at all. Like at all. Like at all. Like at all. Like at all. Emphasis, like not even 0.01%. From what it seems like. Most people spend their time in the retail society, just spending time in somebody else's business when you could have maybe made your own product. Apparently nobody want to make their own shit. They'd rather go buy a bunch of Victoria's Secret thongs and shit like that, and perfume at Sephora and shit like that, or buy a bunch of goddamn Starbuckses. You know, somebody like in Seattle had to make Starbucks a thing at one point? Without all the, like, you know, going back in time, racism towards the natives and stuff, but just like in the past 100 years, you know, niggas had to make a Ford car. Somebody had to make a Ford. You know, like Tom Ford had to make clothes. You know, Giorgio Armani had to make that. He had to design a bunch of clothes for people want to buy some Armani. You know, Hollister, California. You know, somebody had to like make that a business. You know, somebody had to make that. People just be like living like people just be living like shit just fell out the sky. But it did though. Like somebody had to make it fall out of the sky into their head, and they had to bring it into reality via making that shit happen. So I don't understand how people don't believe in themselves, but they'd rather go believe in somebody else, as if somebody else like has more of the creative juices. You know what I'm saying? And then whatever somebody else made, most likely they had to get the idea from observing everybody else. Like, how can I make a coffee that people enjoy and make it a price that is still reasonable for people to want to show up at my Starbucks? And then how can I make the coffee? It's not about obtaining the coffee beans, because you could buy a bunch of coffee beans and then what? They're just a bunch of coffee beans. But that process of like, all right, you know, we're gonna do this with it, we're gonna do this with it, we're gonna do this with it, then we're gonna do this with it, and then we can even do this with it, right? And then just those little first early stages of development, like, all right, Starbucks came to be. And then after they got some traction or whatever from time into it, then they was like, you know what, let's make a pumpkin spice latte. Like, y'all, like, people just, I don't know where people be at, bro. people want to just, again, that's fine. Like, I'm not even mad at nobody. If you want to spend 80, go get 80, 90 years old, if you even live that long, and you was comfortable with your time here, so mote it be. Whatever. I can't be like, I'm not God and shit. I don't control people. But I just find it kind of weird how, you rather give all your time to somebody else when you could be a boss bitch like goddamn Rihanna or something and have your own Fendi clothing store. Now, it might be a little harder to go about that if you're not Rihanna. But the point is, like, Rihanna had to make herself Rihanna. She did that with singing and shit, and then she ended up being a fashion mogul type of person. I guess not everybody got it, bruh. That's what I'm realizing, like. And then if anybody do kind of got it, then they most likely is like a foreigner, like Rihanna or somebody, or like whoever else, you know what I'm saying? And they just got somebody's hand in they back, telling them, all right, we gonna push your face because we like the way you look, Rihanna. We like the way you sing and stuff. We like your abilities and stuff. And then Rihanna probably had to do some business type of stuff too, negotiations and shit like that, for example. But like now we in a whole time where it seems like they just gonna get rid of Rihanna's and stuff and make a whole new AI chick. That you know what I'm saying? They don't even gotta worry about Rihanna showing up to the table, for example, right? They don't even gotta worry about Rihanna showing up to the table and trying to negotiate a better business deal where they gonna lose, where they gotta, like, you know what I'm saying, do this whole like back and forth interaction where they could just create some whole new AI bitch that they don't even gotta like bring nobody to the table. It's their shit at their own table. So that's fine if that's what they want to do. Like, just go over there with your digital AI world. Take that shit back to Europe. But as soon as y'all try to like implement that onto the rest of society, you gonna rock X amount of people asleep. But like anybody that's real and authentic, good luck, buddy. And then that's where they already foresee that possibility. And then they might even like, it's just a whole bunch of force. They just using force and manipulation. That's it. Police and the church go hand in hand. Religion and shit, right? Like, the money is like tied into the church and religion and the government and shit. The government back in the day was the church. And as far as in they pocket. Not the native, I ain't talking about the native culture, but that's all they doing, just like cosplaying and plagiarizing a bunch of dead Native Americans. It don't go any, like, I don't understand how people don't know that. So that's what leads people like me to like, man, a lot of y'all would just, your spirit not from here. To whoever, like, your spirit just not from here. Because if you're not acknowledging the fact there was a lot of Native Americans that were slaughtered, a lot of eagles that were killed, a lot of beavers that were killed, and a lot of trees that were chopped down, and a lot of rivers that got dried up, and a lot of like whales that were killed, and a lot of dolphins that were killed. So you have a Miami Dolphins team, and a lot of like Chicago Bears that were killed, and a lot of like, Redskin, racist term, but a lot of Redskins were killed. So you could have a football team called the Redskins at one point. Now that they call it the Commanders. Like it makes a difference. Like it fucking makes a difference. Like we give a fuck whether you change the name or not, motherfucker. You still using some racist remarks. Just even using the Commanders, like John Lennon and like the Beatles. That's why I'm wearing these. Like got my Beatles shades on. Like a whole bunch of Beatles and stuff wasn't like gathered at some point to make something. Like, man, come on, bro. I bet you they use Beatles for something, bro. Watch. Beatles. Probably for like inks and shit or some shit. This is a whole bunch of, this is like the whole world is just in the whole state of lostness and extreme creative deprivedness. They use Beatles Man, a bunch of things, but mainly like dyes and colorants. So at some point they probably gathered up a whole bunch of beetles. Yeah, for these dyes and stuff. For the dyes and stuff. Like clothing and shit like that. Now these aren't practices like the natives wasn't doing, but like the natives understood like the spiritual aspects to it and the respect. Like you don't just genocide all the beetles, you know what I'm saying? Or you don't just like wipe out all the buffalo. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, buffalo were getting killed by the native Indians, but it was a respect, it was a way of going about that. And it wasn't just like we're just killing buffalo to eat them. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that was a part of it, but like each part of buffalo was used, the horns, the fur, you know what I mean? Like the pelts and shit like that. Like everything was used. Something to make bone, like parts of the buffalo were used to make bowls and shit like that. Maybe certain necklaces and shit. You get it? Everything was utilized. It wasn't just like we're just gonna slaughter the buffalo because we know that this whole group of people are like that's their main shit for how they survive in reality. So that's what that was about, them slaughtering a bunch of life because they knew there was people that were like doing some real creative shit in moderation at that too. It wasn't just like we're gonna slaughter all the buffalo and then now there's no more buffalo next season. Motherfucker. How dare you? Buffalo Bills and shit. Like, how dare you? Yeah, it's like, how dare you? You know, like niggas don't even know what they supporting. And then wonder why their life be the way it be. Because it's not no real life, it's synthetic. But then they wonder why they days and like what they be like, why they experience certain shit. Motherfucker, you doing some real extreme like participating energies in a world that was never yours. Especially if you don't feel bad about it and you just like, oh, I'm gonna get drunk tonight, blah blah blah, yeah, go Indiana Colts. Oh, y'all niggas be asking for a big old spiritual like, a big old like native spirit to just like do a whole giant footprint on your bitch ass like whatever you thought reality was. You know what I'm saying? Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm just naming a few football teams like Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like, what? Are you serious? That's just that. You want to get into baseball? You want to get into basketball? Like that? You want to like? We could just like leave sports, the whole sports department over there. What else do you want to get into? You want to talk about Gordon Ramsay and Hell's Kitchen? Like, what do y'all want to talk about that isn't a form of disrespect to this indigenous like culture that used to be? People just think it's something else because they never was into this shit. You know what I mean? You just accept whatever information somebody tell you because the FDA told you. Because it came from John McCain or somebody. Like, people just look goofy as fuck to me, bro. Who? I'm not knocking nobody, but who the fuck just shows up to the mall just to walk around? Like, people do that. Like, people just come here strictly to the mall just to like walk around, I guess, and get exercise. What, is you scared to go outside and walk? Because that's all I do is walk around all day, every day, outside. By myself. At that. Like, I don't even be with other people. I be by myself. Apparently, that's a crazy thing. Like, apparently that's like something to laugh at, or somebody like look at me weird or something because I'm by myself. I don't understand y'all. You know what I mean? I really don't. everything y'all love and everything y'all like you don't even like see, you know what? You know, good old blood-stained American flags. People just wearing shirts with like American flag on it. Just totally, you have no clue, huh? You didn't pay attention to school or nothing. Like, that's how I think. Like, you was in school for what? Why did your parents send you to school then? How do you have a job or any money? Like, how do you even have a place to live and you think you could just go around your daily life not knowing what occurred here? So that's the times we in. People that just were never here, it seems, because they didn't comprehend shit about no time. They didn't learn no times tables. They didn't learn about no multiplication table, no like 9 times 9. They didn't learn about 4 times 4. They damn for sure wasn't paying attention in history class. As far as they mind goes, like Pearl Harbor, Vietnam or something. Like, that's as far as they mind go, if that, you know what I mean? Or like Iraq, you know, Desert Storm, like early 2000s Iraqi Desert Storm, if that. Like, most people don't even remember that happened. You know what I mean? A lot of people still think Osama bin Laden actually flew some airplanes into 9/11, and people were still in that mentality of like, they still think some terrorist niggas blew up the New York Trade Center buildings and shit. Like, so we just, like, bro, I was 4 years old when that happened. I remember that shit clear as day. I was in kindergarten at school, and then they shut down the whole school that day. Like, we was right in the middle of the class. They're like, on the TV. Everybody had to go home. They were like, all right, pack it up. State of emergency. It's just been declared. Everybody's got to go home today. So it's like, what's the point of school if somebody got that kind of authority and power over your life where they could just shut down some shit? That's how my mind is. And then you go back to 5 years ago, 2020. They shut down everybody's shit. Nigga, people lost their business. There's people homeless today because somebody shut down and shut their business down 5 years ago. I'm upset about that because I was talking to people like for a call center job, a Bank of America and shit. You know what I mean? I heard a lot of stories about, I just lost my business because of this fake ass virus. And then, yeah, you got just people out here today, like, walk around with Gucci bags and shit, like, just still, like, spending money and shit. It's just like, you get that much more lost as a whole. Like, the whole, just everybody, like, all y'all. Nobody's excluded. Nobody's excluded. That's all I gotta say. I'm finna wrap it up, bro. I'm getting upset. R.I.P. my Beatles and shit. Y'all just be disrespecting me. I'm like literally a Cancer sun and moon in the flesh. I'm literally a reflection of this country and all the things that occurred up until this point. Yet you want to walk around with a death row hoodie on. Go die then. That's my mentality. That just go die then. Why are you still walking around? What the fuck's the point? Like, you're dead. You ran a Death Row Records hoodie. You don't like want to start your own record business? Go die then. You don't even know what that shit be meaning or nothing. You just wearing a hoodie because you probably cold or something, or like you match your sweatpants. I don't. It's just like low. How low can you go? And somebody look at me crazy for how I'm talking, because they feel something inside of them that's being disturbed. Like, because you disturbed, bitch, not me. Bitch, you better get with the times. You better get with the